Hello to all Ragic users, no matter where you are and what time zone you are in. Welcome to this Ragic webinar, and today we're going to be going through like a starter's guide for you guys to quickly understand how to quickly build a Ragic database from scratch. And my apologies for the delay. I think I was late for about like 3 or 4 minutes. My computer had an issue, so I had to restart the whole computer, and it took a while, and it didn't go that smooth, but fortunately we're still here to have this webinar, and I'm just gonna wait for another 1 or 2 minutes to allow more users to join, since now I'm officially starting this webinar now. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to ask me. And also, good morning to user Terry Nair, who's in Singapore in the same time zone I am in, I think. I'm in the GMT +8 time zone, so it's actually morning in my location. It's 9:34 a.m. right now. Also, if there's any issues with the sound, or there's some issues with the stream, feel free to let me know, or any questions you can ask me in the chat box, which should be located on the right of your webinar screen, or if you're using a mobile device on a mobile app, it should be located on the bottom of the screen. And also, for information, Ragic, our headquarters are located in Taipei, Taiwan, and I'm located in Taiwan as well. However, if you're from the States, we do have a colleague that's based in the United States who provides support for users in the Western time zone, and mainly for the United States and European regions. Alright, so let's get this webinar started, since I was a bit late to this webinar. And right here, this is our homepage. If you have tried to search for Ragic, you guys should see this page really familiar. It has all the information needed for you to understand Ragic in the first place, such as our slogan, make everybody a data expert, and also some descriptions. And also, what is Ragic? What can Ragic do? We do have a video and a lot more information about templates, customers, and why is Ragic important. But on the top of the page, you'll see this. Right here, this allows you to create a new database account and a user account. So right here, you're going to name your database. So I'm going to just call it, I can just type Fabio Quo database. And this right here, www.ragic.com/Fabio Quo database, will be the link to your database. Since, as you guys may know, Ragic is an online database that is processed in a browser. Therefore, it will have a link if you're deciding to store a Ragic database in the browser. After that's entered, this is the database link. Now you're also, because your database will also need user accounts, now you're going to enter your full name here. So I'm going to go to Fabio Quo and enter your email and enter your password. Once they're all done, you can sign up for free. Signing up for a Ragic database is completely free in the first place, and it will provide you with the free plan, meaning that you can create 3 custom sheets, but you can still use all the templates unlimitedly. And we will not ask for your credit card or any payment information in the first place. We will only ask for it until you selected to subscribe for any of the paid plans, such as the light plan, the professional plan, or the concurrent users plan, etc. And after that's done, you'll go to this page. This is my own, basically like the testing page, which I've registered beforehand. And this is your whole new blank database page. After you've registered, you'll be guided to this page. Now the first things first, Ragic data is stored as entries or records on every sheet. So what you need to do right now is you need to create sheets. And creating Ragic sheets is really easy. It's just like designing an Excel sheet. All you need to do is just to create the fields needed, and you don't even need to write any codes for it. So let me show you how to do it. So you can click on this button or this plus button on the top to create new tabs and sheets. I'm going to press this button. I'm going to create a new tab first. This is called I'm going to call it purchasing, because this is the example I'm going to quickly design today, and save the tab. And I have the tab to store sheets right here, which is, as you can see, is at the top right here. Purchasing, creating a new sheet under this tab. And I'm going to create the first sheet here. So the first sheet I'm going to create as a vendor sheet. Also, on the other hand, if you would like to install templates, like those templates with pre-designed for you, you can also click this option, and then it will take you to the templates installation page. But that's not what we're going through today. We're going to show you how to create a new sheet from scratch. So let's go. Create. And now we have a blank sheet. It's like, it looks completely like Excel, and you may also apply quick templates if you want. Like, for example, if I want to just create a quickly apply the vendor sheet, we do apply those quick templates where it's quickly designed for you. But I'm not going to use this, so I'm going to recreate this sheet again. Create a new sheet under this tab, vendors. Let me just close this. I don't need this. And right now, I'm going to create a new vendor sheet with the fields needed. So first of all, you need to create at least 2 fields for every sheet to save. That's the rule for Ragic. Each sheet needs at least 2 fields. So vendors, vendor ID, vendor name, vendor. Under name, email, phone, address. I'm just going to quickly create some fields. You can create as many fields as you like just by what I've done. And from these 5 fields, let me just quickly show you how these work. So the first one is automatically guessed as an auto-generate field, which is like a sequence field. Basically, it will generate either numerical values or like code values on with a certain sequence, and Ragic will try to guess which field you're trying to use. So since we have entered the ID, it guesses as auto-generate, which is correct. And in the format, I can also change the format of the vendor ID. So I'm going to say VID. VID is 0 and 5 digits. The vendor name is self-explanatory. This is where I will be entering the name of the vendor, email address, and the email of the vendor, phone, address, and phone and address, pretty self-explanatory. If for the address, you may want it to be longer, so I can enlarge the column span. And let's just quickly save. And I can enter records here. Oops, let's just go new. VID automatically generated, and we're gonna vendor name, just randomly name a company, Marshalls, sales@marshalls.com, phone number and an address. 123 New York, USA, and save. Now I have a record saved right here, and I can create as many records as I would like. Well, if I'm on the professional plan, of course. So VID, a new sequence value generated. Okay, phone to high street. And I've quickly just created 2 entries, which are listed in the listing page. So as you can see, a Ragic sheet will have 2 types of pages. The listing page, where it lists all the records, and the form page, the details of one record. However, I haven't created that many fields in this sheet yet, so you don't see the difference between the number of the field displays in the listing page and the form page. But as I'll be creating more fields in this vendor sheet, and you'll see how it will work. So, continuing with the topic, to change a design of a Ragic sheet is very easy compared to if you are using, let's say, an external IT partner helping you. You have to communicate with them, telling them to use code to change a form design or just like a formatting of a field. In Ragic, just one button, this change design button, one of the most important buttons with designing a Ragic database. So if I click this, I'm back to the page where like I can add or modify fields. I mean, what I can do is I can drag wherever the field I want it to be. Well, I'm dragging it back, of course, I don't want it to be there. I can add fields. So, for example, I may need to add another field called main contact person. A main contact person, vendor type. So, as you can see, the vendor type, it guesses as another field called the selection field, which you have to enter your choices, and your choices will be displayed as a drop down when you're editing data. So for example, I'm going to add a tool. I think tools is too general. Let's say stationary. Oh, my apologies. You can't. Sorry about the mouse issue. Yeah, I haven't got that solved yet. I think I may have to. I'll rephrase how I'm saying the locations of the buttons or etc. And if I'll try to find a way where I can display my mouse, I can't really find a way to display it via OBS when I'm just presenting a certain window. My apologies to user Terry Nair. All right. Digital devices. Stationary digital devices. What other vendors are possible? Transportation, and also I can also allow users to add new options right below where I enter the choices. So allow user to add new options, and also this is how I'm entering the vendor type, and I can also again move the fields however I like. So may want to be like a main contact person should be located in the third row. And this is just like a general information of the vendors. One thing I'm going to next go is I'm going to list all the products available for each vendor, which will be displayed in a subtable. So, a subtable is very special, which is a very important thing in a Ragic field design. So, I'm going to first of all show you how a subtable is created. All you need to do is just to align your fields, sort of like you have to create them like sort of horizontally, like align them horizontally. I would say that's the best word. So let's say product ID. Actually, I should do it like this. Sequence. Number, product ID, product name, and price. unit price. I think that's the best word. And I'm going to like change the field for now. So I'm going to go free text, and default value, change it to sequence. Product ID, this will be a free text. I'll use formulas to connect the field values. So as you can see right here, the subtable fields are presented differently compared to independent fields, which are at the top of the sheets. So what it does is I can list multiple products under a vendor, which will be a one-to-many relationship, and which is very handy for this situation, where, like products provided under each vendor, products purchased in a sales order, etc. So let's quickly save and see how it goes. So I've got new fields, and I can enter my product information here. So if I create a new name called Parker's pen, red ink pen, a unit price $1, and blue ink pen. This should not be capitalized. Two. These are just guess price, like my estimated prices for. I'm not really sure how it's like out in the other countries, and the price will be different as well. Let's say eraser 1.5, and what's another good piece of stationery? Let's say a clipper. Yeah, let's say it's 3, and I can save it. These will be recorded in. These will be like the different products will be recorded right here. What's important is what I haven't done is the product ID placed, and what I would suggest having each product ID for every vendor. They have every product for every vendor. They should have their own independent product ID, which is very essential when it comes to using these products. And this is how I make them independent. What I try to do is, I for this case I would add vendor ID and the product number, the sequence, together as a text. So I'm going to apply a formula right here. Yes, applying a formula is very easy, and this will be called a formula in strings. So this should be the formula should be A1 plus, I'm going to say dash, and I'm going to have A10. This will, oops, I lost the plus. This will combine the text of the field vendor ID and the product number to create like the product ID. Click save. And also, if you have created a formula after you've designed a sheet and already have data on it, please remember to apply all formula on this sheet to all saved records, or apply this formula to all saved records to execute the recalculation. Start recalculating and let the system work. So as you can see, each product, they have their own independent ID with their product number. So there's VID 02-1-2-3-4. And it will be essential for you to make selections afterwards. So let me just complete this first. And main contact, James Parker, stationery. And also I'm going to another two Marshalls. For this one will be digital devices, and be a Marshall. I'm not being very creative right here. Oops. And I'm going to enter new product names right here. Dell laptop 2020 unit price. I'm going to say 2,000. Wireless mouse 25. typo right here. Headphone 100, and just click save right here. Now, as you can see, I can still, like, theoretically, I can still edit these two fields or the vendor ID. Another setting you may apply is just go to change design in the top right corner here, the button, and I can change the field attributes. So these are the key field attributes that you may use. For most cases, I think the most use is either not empty or read only to sort of like lock the fields. And if needed, some users will hide the fields if they sort of like hiding a constant where they may apply this field in a calculation afterward. But right here, I'm just going to apply these fields as read only. So product number read only, nobody can modify this. Product ID read only, nobody can modify this. And vendor ID, it should also be as read only. And basically, I have two vendors with all the product information listed down here. And let's go back to this listing page sheet. As you can see now, it only has 5 fields compared to like the 7 fields on the listing on the form page and also the subtables. Well, first of all, subtables cannot be really displayed on the listing page because I don't think there's a possible way to display multiple subtable records of one record on the listing page. It doesn't really make sense. What you can do right here is, for example, I don't want to display that many information on the listing page, or I want to display other information. Of course, you can change the listing page design. Again, click the change design button. So right here, you can select the fields you want to display. For example, I don't think I need to display the address. I can remove it. But I want to display the main contact person. I can add it here. Now it will be added to the listing page, and I can rearrange it however I like. However, please make sure that you don't rearrange these fields has to be aligned sort of like horizontally connects to each other. This is how the listing page will work. And once it's saved, it can be applied on your listing page. So the main contact person is right here, which is the new field I've added. Oh, and there's also a lot of other design changes that you may apply really easily in the change designs. For example, I want this field to be wider, drag it wider. I can also change the styles. If I want to change the label font, the label color, the value font, the value color, etc. I can do that really easily anytime you feel like to do so. And to change the design mode from the listing page to the form page, just click this arrow right here. It will say on the top right corner of your design mode screen, and it will say switch to listing or form page. Click this, and remember to save your design, save and exit, and you're now to the form page. Also, it will be on if you're on the listing page, the form page, you want to go to the listing page again. The respective arrow will be in the same location too. Now, in the listing page, what I want to do is, you may ask, how am I going to use these products if I'm, for example, in a purchase requisition sheet? So right here, you need to make each product its own independent record. This is very important because it will be used in another feature called link and load afterward. To do so, it's really easy. It's just one feature called New Sheet from Subtable, which is found under Form Tools. Click New Sheet from Subtable. This subtable will be created as a new sheet, and I'm going to link it via the vendor ID, which is the independent field. And create new sheet, and create new sheet. So as you can see in this screen, the 7 products I've created will be populated on this new product sheet. and it will be all linked. It will be all presented right here with its vendor ID and the product ID. I can go to the design mode to I'm going to the form page first. This is how it will be displayed automatically. You can change the field design afterwards, such as I don't want this to be that wide. I can drag it here. I don't want to display the vendor number, the product number, because actually I don't want to display the product number, so I may just want to remove it. Just on this sheet, it won't be applied on the source sheet. Also, what I may want to do is I might want to add new fields from the original the vendor sheet. And just for your information, the vendor sheet and this product sheets, they are tightly related, because I mean basically it shares the same data source. So what you can do is I can add fields from the parent sheet by clicking on this vendors button, and I'm going to drag the vendor name down here. So I'm going to say vendor ID and a vendor name. These will be automatically populated and synced from your vendor sheet. So for example, I click save. Feed marshals is right here. If I make a change, if I make a data change in the that's for the marshal. If I make a change in the vendor sheet, I'm going to say Marshall's computers. If I change the vendor name and I refresh in the product sheet, you can see that it will be automatically updated in the vendor's name part. And because these information are synced. And if I add another hardware in the subtable for the Marshall's computers, so for example, say printer. A printer, maybe I'm guessing 40. Click save. Click save, and let's see. It should create a new record in the product sheet. As you can see, now in the product sheet, there's the new record I just created from the vendor sheet. It's automatically added and populated here with the product ID and the vendor ID. So these sheets are synced, and what I've just done is making each created product its own independent record. So this is the first key feature of like the data linkage, which is called new sheet from Subtable. Now the next step is to create a purchase requisition sheet. This sheet will use a very key feature called link and load in Subtables, which I will show you how to do so. So I'm going to create a new sheet by clicking on this button, purchase requisition, create. Yes, oops. Again, new sheet from scratch. Let's create the fields needed. So I'm going to requisition ID and auto-generated PRID, a random format, and submitted date. Oh yes, another field type I'm used, which is the date field. This is the default format. You can also change the format if you want. By default, we use the year, month, and day format, and there are also other formats you can use right here, or you can just simply type the format right here. Submitted date. Submitter. Department. Email. Phone. And I'm just gonna do an easy one right here. And department, I can also change the field type to a selection field. So it could be change and add the choices: marketing, sales, resources, accounting, management, IT, I'm just gonna write the six right here. And then I'm going to add a subtable for the purchased products. What I can do is I can directly use link and load to create these fields. So go to Form Tools up here, and there's the button called Link and Load, and I can link to the product sheet. And I'm going to create new fields right here. So I'm going to link with product ID, and then it will load. I can select load other fields. So product ID, product name, unit price. I'm just going to use these three fields right now. Now these three fields are lined as a subtable because I'm assuming one purchase requisition will have many products purchased, and these are the products that you are purchased and will be displayed in the subtable. As you can see, there's the icon, the blue L's and the gray L's. These determine whether it's a linked field or a loaded field. So if it's a blue L, it's a linked field, and if it's a gray L, it's a loaded field. And I can also add a quantity and add more fields in the subtable for calculation, and this quantity, discount, and price. And then I'm going to change the field types to this one to a percentage field. And then add also final here, right here, total price. So this is like the layout of this very, very simple purchase requisition sheet. But right here, says you it's not like you will need to know which like how much you've bought, how much money you've paid. So to do this automatically, you can add formulas. So I got this unit price, the quantity, and the discount, and this final, like the purchase price, I guess. Purchase price. And what I'm going to do right here is to apply the formulas needed for this. So for example, to find the purchase price, I'm going to add the unit price, multiply the quantity, and then apply the discount, which is like multiply by 1 minus this discount value. So the formula I can quickly apply right here is C9 multiplied by D9 and multiplied by 1 minus E9. And the total price, this will be the sum of all this field, which should be at F9. So if I quickly just like write this, referring to a certain subtable, it will provide the sum of all the subtable records under this record. So this is how it works. So let's create a new record right here. So PRID, the first one, submit date. I'm going to enter today. Submitter myself, Fabio Quo. Department. I'm from the marketing department. And email Fabio@ragic.com. Now right here, what link and load does is after the link and load relationship has been set up, I can click this button on the field, and let me just do it again for you guys to see. This button on the field to select a product. For example, I want a printer, and I want 2 of them with a discount 10%. It will be applied, and the formulas will be applied automatically for the purchase price, and the product ID will also I've basically selected the product ID, which will load the printer and the unit price. And the following are just done via formula. We calculate the formulas I've just set up. And then I can add another one. Quantity 30, discount 5%. Again, more records, they still do the recalculation for you. And I can save, and this is a very simple purchase requisition form. However, we're not done right here. There are a lot of features that I can still talk about. So I may submit a purchase requisition, but who's going to check it? Now at Ragic, there's a very key feature called the approval flow. On every Ragic sheet, you can set up different customized approval flows for however you like. So right here, on the bottom right corner of your screen, you can select to configure approval flow for this form. Click to open this, and I can add an approval step. So I can step marketing. Actually, it should be the finance department. See if the money works, and I can actually it should be accounting since this is the default group. So the accounting step, and who's going to approve it? We select it right here. You can select it by a certain group, which I've selected to use as the accounting group. The accounting group needs to approve it, and I can also add other approval steps, such as the management group may also need to approve this. And I'm just going to enter the statement called management. And if you can also apply advanced settings, so strict identity verification. Let's see what it is. And basically, it has the user identity verification where you have set with local laws. And also allow to reject approval, which allows your users to reject approval or lock record where approval starts. This is by default set because when approval starts, you don't want anybody to change any of the values. And also, if you want to automatically start an approval after saving a new record, it can be done. Approve with handwritten signature, and also quite many few advanced settings, which are related to the workflow related to the whole approval. However, for each individual approval, you can click on the gear icon right here. So you can select the delete, which I've just done since I accidentally added 2 steps. You can set rules. So if, for example, if the total field is, you can ask, for example, if the total price field is greater than, let's say, 10,000, 100,000, then the accounting approval step will be needed. And etc. We can apply these settings if you would like to. But right now, I'm not going to use these settings. And to quickly show you how the approval step works. Whoops, save. Whoops, no use. I haven't added any users in this group. Let me change all the approval steps to myself. I'm gonna go Fabio Ragic test. So this is just for mock design. I'm basically making myself as the approver. So if I start the approval, as you can see, the records will be locked, and it will need the approver's approval to make sure that this record is approved and completed. I can click approve and approve, and if I would like to approve again, I can also add here, or I can also click the plus icon right here to add a step before the step if you want somebody to approve it before you. Add approvers in this step, have somebody approve this record with you, and add new approvers after this step, or you can also change approvers if you would like to. And finally, if when I'm editing a record, like acting like a user end, not the approver end, I can also select to cancel approval and edit the records, such as I might want to add another product. Red ink pen, 30 and no discount. New total price. And after my editing, I can start the approval again. And if after I've started the approval, again, you can just do the approval again, and I'm not going to do consecutive approvals right here, so I'm just going to approve this step by step. And once it's completed, it will show it's approved, and your sheet will be basically your sheet will be locked because it's completed, and I mean basically you don't need to edit it because it's completed. And also, what you can what I would also like to do is one thing that's really fun to do is I can create a new sheet from the subtable to make each purchased product as an independent record in the subtable. So, and create a new sheet from the subtable, link it to this form via requisition ID, create new sheet, and create new sheet. So this is the same thing I just done for the product sheet. And I'm going to change the design a bit to add some fields, which I personally like to add using link field from parent sheets. I'm going to link the submitter and the submitted date. So let's see. So product ID, requisition ID. I would like to order this. Let me reorder this. Product requisition ID at the top. Product ID. Just dragging it and basically modifying how your sheet looks is really easy. I mean, all you need is just drag it and reformat them. And also now, basically the 3 products will be listed right here in like an independent form. I mean, let me just create another purchase requisition form. I got PRID, submitted date. I said it's yesterday. Parker from the sale. I guess this is saying that it's for Gmail, but I'm just doing for like a sample email. Parker's 3% off. This is how like I'm editing the records. If you quickly editing the records on the page that I've just created. Blue ink pen, 10% discount. And maybe another printer. And now, what I've just done on the product sheet for each vendor's products, on the product ID, these records will be presented in the product ID sheet, or I'm going to change the name of this sheet. It should be called the purchase products. If you want to change the name of a sheet after creation, you can go to the sheet under the tab, right click on the downward arrow, and rename. Okay, instead of product ID, products purchase. And your sheet name will be renamed. I wanted to show this sheet because one thing I want to do is to apply a filter, show you how filter and sorting works. So on the listing page and also in the subtables, you can apply different filters and sorting. So for example, I want to filter the let's say filter by a product name. So I want to see which, I want to see all the printer records. So what I need to do is just filter by text and type printer. Now it will filter to only display the printer records, and I will at a glance, I'll see who has purchased printers and what discounts they've got, what quantities were bought, etc. And with sorting, you can sort it to sort of like display and quickly see how like from A to Z, from Z to A, or from smallest to largest, etc. So for example, I want to see the unit prices and sort by smallest to largest, and it will apply the sort. You can what you can do is you can also apply another secondary sort, which is after one sort is completed, you can sort by unit price, which is already done, and then sort by the product name. So unit price comes first, and then go to the product name. So, and of course, you can apply more sortings with the consecutive rules, and that's basically how you do filtering and sorting. And you can then clear sorting right here on the drop-down menu of each field to click clear sorting. And other than filtering and sorting on the field headers, you can also go to the left sidebar to apply filters as well. So I want to filter by submitted. I'm going to filter by product name. Sure. This one I want to say pen. Search. I filter by pen, and I click search, and basically it shows the values, the vectors that have the pen in the field value as the field value in the product name. And if needed, you can also save as view. As a sysadmin, I can save it as a personal view for me to quickly for myself to quickly access by clicking a button later will be displayed. A shared view for everybody to quickly access by clicking a filter button, and a fixed filter. So if you set a fixed filter, by default, users will only be able to see these 3 records because it's set as a fixed filter. To show you how the shared view works, I'm going to go with shared view, which works the same as personal view, but the difference is that the personal view, you're only setting it for yourself, where the shared view, you're setting it for all the users accessible in this database. So just going for shared view, and just go name it pen, submit. As you can see, there's a pen icon right here. So if I clear filter, clear it to the blank screen first place, blank filter, my apologies, click pen, it quickly applies the filter. So this is very handy. So if you want to see, for example, for this case, the purchase products that are the purchase pens, or in other cases, such as completed sales orders, inactive clients, active clients, etc., you can set the respective filtering conditions and save them as a shared view, and your users could be able quickly access these buttons. Now, another reason why I wanted to create a products purchase sheet is I want to go to the product sheet, and I want to create a reference subtable referencing the purchase products. So if I go back to the product sheet, change design, I can see the purchase requisitions for each product. So for example, I can go to form tools, show reference from existing sheets. It will allow me to select to create a reference subtable referencing the sheet products purchase. Drag this, drag it down. It will by default ask you to select which fields you want to display. I'm just going to display all fields, other than these 3 system fields. Why not? And then click insert subtable, and the subtable will be inserted. And let's just quickly save this. So for example, as a print, for this printer, in two purchase requisitions, it's in 2 purchase requisitions, and it's displayed as a reference subtable. So if I make another purchase requisition, it will be automatically displayed right here if I make a purchase requisition for a printer. So let's see how it works. A new purchase requisition. submit a day, let's say it's today. Stones. And I'm just going to simply select 4 printers with a discount 25, and make sure you click save. If I go to the printer sheet, I can also go by hovering to the product ID, the blue text, and then it will provide a fly in. As you can see, this provides a glance of the record. As you can see, Annie Stones is right here down here. And then I can also click on this icon at the top, the product and like this icon, square and an arrow thing. Click this icon and I can go to the product sheet. So what it shows is this computer, like this printer is in these three purchase requisitions. And again, I can also click this purchase requisition, hover to a certain purchase requisition, and then click the same icon to go to that purchase requisition quickly. It allows you to sort of like go back and forth with the linked values. And since these sheets are very, I think this isn't like a very accurate term, but they are very closely linked to each other, because I've added a link and load on the purchase requisition sheet to allow users to select a product ID and display the related products. And on the list of products, I also created a reference subtable to reference which purchase requisitions have purchased this certain product. And one final feature, quick and essential feature I would like to talk about is the access rights. So for example, you may have already added a few users in your database, and you have already set them in different groups. And this is done in the user management area, which I have done in like a previous webinar talking about like sharing Ragic data, etc. I forgot the name of the webinar. But after you've assigned them in the correct groups, you can go to change design and go to form settings to decide which user groups can access your sheets. So the first one is everyone, which means public. So the public has no rights. I can change if I want everybody to access the sheet. I can set them as with other access rights, such as a survey user, create and edit their own entries. Meaning that you're going to allow guests to create their own entries and they can manage them after they've created. A viewer, they can view all entries. A bulletin user, what I would like to say is survey user plus viewer, because they can edit their own entries plus viewing all entries. And admin, meaning that they can edit the whole sheet. They can edit every data, every record on the sheet, but they can't edit the sheet design, which is only available for sysadmins. And since we have different user groups, you can select which user groups can do which actions or have different roles on your sheet. And you may also add a user in 2 different user groups. So for example, if a certain user, which is called Annie Stones, is in the management user group and in the HR user group, which has no rights, and the management user group has survey user rights, she will be a survey user because the system sort of like assigns her role with the highest access rights she can possibly have. That's how the access rights works in Ragic. And also, for example, if you want your users to access the same data but differently, with different access rights, and with, like, for example, a purchase requisition, the complete form is available for the management group, but you also want to open the sheet for the HR group, but you want to hide the subtable. What you can do is, I can create multiple versions of this sheet with different access rights. So the management, they have the whole access of this sheet. Click save. And another feature called multiple versions. It will create a duplicated sheet with the data synced if you select to use same data source on new sheet. If you do not select this option, it will just replicate the design but does not sync the data on the purchase requisition sheet. So if I duplicate this sheet, purchase requisition copy, change design, I can select to delete, hide these fields so the accounting group doesn't see these. I mean I think the HR group, my apologies. And I can change the access rights for this. No rights, and they are bulletin users. So, therefore, they'll see the same records, but it's displayed differently because I've hide the whole subtable, and I can rearrange the fields if I would like. The field design you've applied on one sheet will not be automatically applied on the other multiple version sheet which you previously created. And this is very handy for if you want to hide certain fields for certain user groups, or apply different actions such as have all these fields set as read only but allow users to edit on the other sheet, etc. The multiple versions is very handy because they share the same data pool. So for example, if let's say save and exit, Annie Stones, I'm going to add a middle name for the submitter, and Annie Carlston Stones. I edit on the purchase requisition copy sheet. It will be applied on the purchase requisition sheet as well. So the middle name is applied because these fields are synced. They are synchronized, so when editing on one page, it will be applied on the other page. So this is how multiple versions work. And basically, I'm pretty much done with going through like the basics of creating a Ragic database and the searching sheets, as well as using the key Ragic features. So personally, I think the most important Ragic features are, first of all, Ragic sheet creation, the different field types supported, such as a date field, ID field, free text, numerical fields. Setting formulas is also very important because we all need formulas to finish our daily work lives. And also, we've also talked about filtering and sorting, which is very handy for you to find certain records quickly. And one of our main features in Ragic is the sheet and data relationships, such as using link and load to select a value and load the respective other field values. Creating a new sheet from Subtable to basically make all your Subtable entries into one independent entry, but having it synchronized with its original parent entry. Also, Subtables are very important for using one-to-many relationships. And finally, for referencing other orders, a reference subtable comes in very handy. And finally, the last two will be access right settings, because we all want our data to be displayed to the right people, the right personnels, and we don't want any data breaches. Finally, the other feature I think is very important is related to access rights is multiple versions. It's also related to any data linkage, because it's also, your data will be synchronized on different multiple versions. So that's it for today's webinar. We've talked about the basics in the last hour. And right now I'll be ready for any Ragic questions if you guys would like to ask. And I'll if you have any questions, please ask in the chat box, the webinar chat box below, or on the right side of your computer screen, and I'll answer them during their orally in the stream. Also, my apologies for the delay of the start of the webinar, and I'm pretty glad that my webinar went. At least there wasn't really many big like computer issues during this webinar. And for now, I'll stay for another few minutes to ask for your questions. The white labeling option, for the white labeling, how would you like to white label your options? So right here, you can change this Ragic logo. We can change this Ragic logo right here to, you can upload image to replace this Ragic logo, and also upload image to replace the banners as well as having your own custom domain. If you have your own custom domain and like the email servers. So, and for more information on how it works, I would suggest submitting a support ticket via the Need Help button on the top right corner of your screen. And you can submit a support, and then right here, you can submit a support ticket and ask the question, and provide us with the details about your ideal white labeling situation, and we can help from there. And is it possible to publish a form online in another site? We do have embedding tools. So for example, a purchase requisition, go to tools in the listing page, and you can embed this sheet. And we have quite a few website plugins, and you can select to use the database form. And you can design your embedded forms right here. If you're importing data from a MySQL database, if you would like to import data to a Ragic sheet, first of all, you need to organize your data on a CSV, or an Excel file with the correct format. And I think I can provide you with the document right here. I'll provide it quickly. And let's see how I can get this out. Whoops. Let me provide you with the document for importing, and you'll need to format your data. For your case, you'll probably need to export your data from another database to a CSV or an Excel file, and then import it from there. So here's the document. Let me quickly get it out and paste the link in the chat box here. So for Mr. Donald Fletcher, I provided you the link in the chat box. So if you have any questions, I'll be here for another 1 or 2 minutes. Or if you would like to submit via the support ticket, always remember to click on the Need Help button to submit the ticket. And also thanks for all users participating in this webinar, and feel free to reach out to us by sending us an email to support@ragic.com if you have any questions. And as well, you can also submit a support ticket via the Need Help button in the top right corner of your screen. And how about syncing Ragic, between Ragic with MySQL? I've actually just recently posted in our social media account about how to integrate Ragic with your current system, and here's this blog post. I think it will be very helpful for you. And thanks to user Donald Fletcher and also user Nez Erkman. And I guess it's time to conclude our webinar, and thanks for joining this webinar, and we'll see you next time.